So this is how we get to do this. This is how we get to do this my way. Again, instead of doing it Berg's way, we'll do it my way. Fine. So, first thing I need to do is I need to have a cell phone that happens to run Samsung DeX. No, I need to have another $300 Android device in order to do this. So lucky me that I don't owe anything this tax season, I guess. Keep your hungry eyes in your pocket. You can't sue me. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? That's the best you've got? It doesn't even have true full screen. Oh my god. I'm not just mad, I'm infuriated. I'm infuriated. I'm infuriated. I'm infuriated right now. I'm absolutely flabbergasted and infuriated. How is it that me taking the headset off because the shitty strap couldn't stay off my mouth? The fucking headset strap couldn't keep the headset off of my mouth. How is it that because I took it off then and said, it's too dangerous to use, I can now no longer stream myself using it on first-party software? Why is that? Because this is an old issue that has had mumbling for explanation. Like, I just looked at a forum from 10 months ago. It's not 10 months ago. So. Doesn't this just look like garbage? It's not gonna work now that I'm using the DeX. I can see it trying. You can tell Dex is trying to run this. You can tell everything's working except for the Facebook stuff. I just checked it. it would appear that your Meta app is having some trouble, Facebook. Might want, ooh, ooh, want to do something about that. You might want to do something about that before that becomes a recurring issue. Yes, sir. I can't fucking resize it. Best we get. Get shit. You get shit on. That's what we do here. We get shit on. Yeah, capture. Not too concerned about my capture. Okay. Alright. Let me try something here. As one does. I'm thinking it might have something to do with this multi-window function I'm not able to actually turn off. That's what I'm thinking. 'Cause that's new. And doesn't seem to be working correctly. Really not a lot of options for debugging this. To be frank, not a lot of options here. Nope, not very versatile. Not at all. Before I plug this in, it keeps installing my phone as a VR as a meta device. It's a Samsung Galaxy Note 9 prerequisition. You can see right here this identifier right here. That's the identifier for my phone. I know it. I'll show you why it does that, because just as I said before I ended the stream, just in case you're here to follow up, let me see. I got viewers? Yeah, I got no viewers. Anyway, I'll just finish how I started, like a real one. Go over here to settings, look at your ADB path, and you'll see here that it has indeed defaulted, just as I said it would, defaulted from the app data folder that it's supposed to be in. Probably because they haven't had the ability to renew their ADB in a while because it was created by Oculus. And then it was up to Meta to maintain it. And it's probably just unusable. So it probably is an afterthought that they defaulted to the better universal ADB driver for Android devices. That one is the one that's being supported by the market. It's not Meta's toy box at all. We all know this. So this is what that looks like for someone like me. Just so you know. So it defaulted to the ADB SDK of Android devices instead of the ADB SDK for the Meta Quest developer HUD. Now, why that's important is because if we look here as of 17 days ago, Meta is going to be forcing publishers to develop for the latest Android firmware, Android 12L. So, if it's going to be supporting Android 12L, is it still going to be supporting the Meta driver? Or is it just going to be supporting Google drivers? Because if it's just going to be supporting Google drivers, stop calling it a Meta headset. Stop making it difficult for people like me and call it a Google headset. Say you sold the business to Google already. I don't want to sit here with Zuckerberg's ego in my hand and try to protect it. Everybody knows that his business flopped. Everybody knows these things were released way too soon. They're way too heavy. There's not enough IPD options. It took 2 years after it was released for it to have 60 Hz recognition. 60 Hz, by the way, is the core standard of a game engine. So up until that point, everyone was playing tech demos, pretending to have fun. No, seriously. No, seriously. The fucking thing didn't even register at clock rate speed for 2 years. This thing on my head, this Team Fortress 2 hat, I don't take it seriously for a very good reason, man. I fully expect somebody to tell me that they're just fucking shadow banning people left and right at this point to save face. I would sooner believe it than think that it's an issue on my end. That's for damn sure, because I have already proved that this works flawlessly in my setup. My setup is not an issue. What was an issue today was that the headset kept falling off my face and pushing into my jaw. So I took the headset off. Now that was an issue. Anyway, I'm going to keep debugging this for a little bit. But clearly it's not a game night. Clearly it's a... What the fuck are you doing? Day. Like, all day has been this. Just me sitting here. Maybe in the true light of International Guts Day. Just looking at the circuit. And just being like, what do you think you're doing? Give me what's mine. Give me what's mine. Cough it up. Cough it up already. Look, I'm the greatest, the best, and the youngest who have ever done it, and I'm still here kicking ass. Can't compete. You're on some bullshit. MSMPENG. Acting a fool. So they just did a restart. The ADB's running, so let's restart it. This might That might have just disconnected my camera, sorry about that. I swear to God, I will force this to work. I will force it to work. It will work. And like, I won't even play it tonight. I'll just fucking make it work, and then I'll just throw some glitter in the air, and I'll just be like... Alright, so I've got to reauthorize it. That's good. It's started. Wait a minute. So... It just tried to reinstall the fucking phone. That's what happened there. Hilarious. Hilariously. Oh shit, it might be a big boy. Boy, it might be. What? I can just delete this. Or not delete, I can just end that task. Oh fuck it, you know what, I'm getting sidetracked. I've got 5 ADBs running right now. Holy shit. Disconnect everything. Wow. That is some embarrassing. And that... Just... Cut it. Cutting it down. I don't even want to see it reboot yet. Okay. So, step 1, plug in the thing that I want to have to only have plugged in for like 2 fucking seconds, by the way. By the way, this is only supposed to have taken 2 fucking seconds in pack. That did not work. Did the ADB running? Alright, so an ADB is running. Hold that. Build the refresh. It's so funny because it'll connect, like it'll say all this, and like the light right now goes. Air and it's stuck. Okay. Okay. This is infuriating. Like I'm dehydrated yelling at this is so bad. Just so bad. I'm not sure why the proximity... This is shit. Yeah, I'm not sure what it's trying to run instead, but it's definitely trying to run something instead of what it's supposed to run. And again, I'm almost certain that this is all unnecessary, and I am so certain. The only thing I really should do is just make sure my mic is my mic is working. I'm so certain that I'm right about what I said like 10 minutes ago regarding Android 12 and the EDB driver just being not updated, because for real. So when I played this afternoon, from when I turned it off, there was a service update on the meta that updated the last game that I played, because it was the last game that I played on meta. All of them are going to update as I open them, but that one got the update, and it's not because that game actually got updated. It's just because meta has gotten the update for all the Unity 12 stuff. I'm going over here. So this edb.exe tool right here is what is being defaulted onto now, which is just not optimal at all. Because this one is what all of this is built around. And right now, at least, I had no access to any of this. None of my things I'll never download, or these SDKs that, again, I'll never download. I'll never have access to these code samples that I'm never going to download. You know, I'm never going to have any of these available to me. I'm never going to download these, mind you. It's entirely not my fault I'm not going to download these. I could have. But, yeah, anyway. I'll just sit here until my fucking throat goes raw over it, but, like, this is embarrassing for the company, not me. I'm doing great. I feel like $100 right now. Like, yeah, it's a little trashy. You know, I could recognize what's happening. What is happening right now is indeed a little trashy, but it's not my fault. It's not my fault people are treating me like trash right now. It's not my fault that I'm forced to live like Oscar the Grouch. Pop out of my little trash can just to tell you what's going on in my life, you know? It didn't have to be this way. I was just chilling playing Doki Doki Panic earlier, like, I'm solid. But Meta and Zuckerberg, not so, not so solid. None of these options are going to help me with anything that I need to do here. Because what I need to do is I need the ADB driver that this fucking network is supposed to be built off of right now. Because there's supposed to be this whole fucking matrix for this thing right now. But no. They're just like, look, just treat it like it's a fucking Windows phone, I guess, is what we're doing here right now. And that's just bad. That's just bad and not great. I wonder if turning off my Bluetooth might just wildly in the panic that I'm in to see if this helps. Of course not. Of course not. Man. And again, I don't know what happened with my light, but my light went from red to green. I think it's a firmware update that I must have just gotten, like in the midst of doing all of this and restarting the headset. Because now the record button is green instead of red. So that's something that I can look for at least. I can look for what would indicate or what would change my record button from going from red to green. But like I've been doing this for like 2 or 3 hours now. I don't want to be doing any of this. I literally didn't want to have to do any of what I've been. And again, I'm almost certain that it has something to do with this most recent firmware update. It's just stuck here in my face right now. It just like it feels so much cheaper. Like just the software itself, even the software even feels cheaper than like honestly, I would say 4 or 5 months ago. That's what I'd say. Feels a lot cheaper. Like when you turn it on, there's a flash of white before there's the company logo. Is a really good example. There's a flash of light right before the company logo, and it's very jarring because that's not safe. And again, of course, they wouldn't have had that during QA and during release, because that wouldn't have passed basic QA guidelines for hardware. Everybody who's anybody knows that any sort of paraphernalia that you have that's going to be a light source has to be below a certain frequency, and it has to, have a certain amount of time between color changes and things like this. Like you're not going to strap up like that. Like that's just not how life works. So whatever that was that I just went through when I put the headset on, I definitely don't want to go through it again here. We'll see what happens. Now this is stuck on saying it's casting, but it's definitely not casting. It just runs. It just runs over itself here, really. Like it's really too bad because it does feel like this thing is just a snake that's it's just turned into like such a cheap thing. I wouldn't take it seriously. Like I would sooner get a PlayStation 5 VR and then just work around having the cables than just like give Zuckerberg $400 again. This is way more trouble than it's worth because legitimately, I don't know if you can tell, but I've gotten good at doing this just because I've had to do it so much. And it's always some bullshit that doesn't make sense and it always ends up being back reverted. I've used 30% of the overall battery life just trying to make this thing go forward a little bit. Like, there goes my evening. You know, this afternoon, there went my jaw. Like, this thing is just no great. It's just no great. Firmware build date, Friday, April 7th. So, the firmware update happened over the weekend, and I didn't use it over the weekend. And the firmware build date probably didn't get implemented when I was in ALVR going into the game, so the firmware update probably didn't implement until I took the headset off and stopped streaming, or took my break earlier. So yeah, I bet I have known the whole time exactly what the problem was, and I bet if I contact support, they're not gonna understand what I'm trying to say to them. Oh God. God, I hate this. Fuck, this is so infuriating. I feel like I'm looking at Windows Vista. Fuck. Fuck me, bro. Fine. 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 I'm not going to stream VR tonight because, you know what? You know what? Fucking, I'm not a millionaire child, so, like, I can't just cry super loud and then have it fix itself. I'm gonna just move on here, and, you know, hopefully the fact that everything that's ever being done is half-baked can not get in the way of me having a half-enjoyable evening here. Maybe. Maybe.